Have you ever noticed those tiniest dots scattered across a world map? Places so small, so remote that they almost disappear into the endless blue of the Pacific Ocean. These are the forgotten corners of our planet, places that rarely make the news, yet each has a story waiting to be told. Among them, there's one island that stands out, not for its size, but for its extraordinary history and the lessons it offers. This is Nauru, the least visited country on Earth, a place so remote that most people have never even heard its name. Yet, despite its obscurity, Nauru's story is both fascinating and cautionary, a tale that echoes far beyond its shores. Once known as the Kuwait of the Pacific, Nauru was, for a brief moment, one of the richest nations per capita on the planet. Its wealth came from a single resource, phosphate, a mineral formed from centuries of bird droppings. But as quickly as fortune arrived, it vanished, leaving behind a landscape scarred by mining and a population facing hardship. Nauru's dramatic rise and fall is a powerful warning about the dangers of over-reliance on a single resource and the importance of planning for the future. How did a nation go from being one of the world's wealthiest with grand hotels and imported cars to struggling for survival, dependent on foreign aid and international assistance? The answer is complex, woven into the very fabric of Nauru's land and the resilience of its people. The story of Nauru is written in its land, once lush, now largely barren, and in the faces of its people, who have endured and adapted through decades of change and challenge. But Nauru is so much more than headlines about detention centers or economic collapse. It's a living, breathing community with a rich culture, deep traditions, and a history of resilience that continues to this day. The spirit of Nauru's people shines through in their music, their stories, and their determination to preserve their way of life. Today, we'll uncover the secrets of this forgotten island, exploring its haunting landscapes, meeting its people, and discovering the powerful lessons it holds for our world about sustainability, adaptation, and hope in the face of adversity. So let's journey together to the edge of the map and discover the remarkable story of Nauru, a place that, despite its size, has much to teach us all. To truly understand Nauru, you must first grasp its profound isolation. This tiny island nation, nestled in the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean, is one of the most remote places on Earth. Its isolation is not just geographical, but also cultural and economic, shaping the lives of its inhabitants in unique ways. Located northeast of Australia, deep within the heart of Micronesia, Nauru is a solitary coral atoll. It spans just 21 square kilometers, making it one of the smallest countries in the world. This small size belies the complexity and richness of its history and culture. Remarkably, you can drive around the entire island in under half an hour. This short journey offers a glimpse into the island's diverse landscapes, from its coastal beauty to its rugged interior. Nauru's nearest neighbor is a distant 300 kilometers away, emphasizing its seclusion. This distance has both protected and isolated the island, creating a unique environment. Almost the entire population resides on a narrow coastal strip, squeezed between the vast ocean and a high, mined-out plateau known as Topside. This area is the heart of Nauru's community life, bustling with activity and culture. The plateau, once lush and forested, was rich in phosphate, a resource that would shape Nauru's destiny. The extraction of phosphate has left the interior a barren moonscape, a stark reminder of the island's industrial past. With no rivers to provide fresh water, Nauru relies heavily on rainwater and an aging desalination plant. These are lifelines for the island's survival, crucial in sustaining its population. The island's geography imposes constant limits and vulnerabilities, particularly in the face of climate change and environmental damage. Coastal erosion and rising sea levels threaten the very existence of this fragile land. The mined-out interior is now uninhabitable, and the ecosystem is deeply scarred. This transformation is a testament to the impact of human activity on the environment. Nauru stands as a stark example of how a nation's land can be transformed and nearly destroyed by human hands. It serves as a cautionary tale, highlighting the need for sustainable practices and environmental stewardship. Nauru's economy is a classic boom and bust tragedy. For centuries, Nauruans lived off the land and sea. But in the 1900s, the discovery of phosphate changed everything. Colonial powers mined relentlessly, and Nauruans saw little of the wealth until independence in 1968. Briefly, Nauru was among the world's richest nations per capita, tax-free, with free healthcare and education. But the phosphate was finite. The trust fund meant to secure the future was mismanaged and squandered. By the 2000s, the money was gone, the land ruined, and the nation bankrupt. Today, Nauru relies on foreign aid, its interior a wasteland, a cautionary tale of the resource curse. The lesson: wealth without sustainability leads to ruin. Nauru's collapse wasn't just bad luck, it was fueled by corruption and mismanagement. Billions from phosphate vanished through questionable deals and lavish spending, leaving public services in ruins. In desperation, Nauru became a tax haven and sold passports, attracting global criminals and sanctions. Hospitals and schools now struggle, jobs are scarce, and most rely on government aid that's never guaranteed. Political instability and broken trust haunt daily life. The cycle of dependency and uncertainty is hard to break. Rebuilding trust and fairness is Nauru's greatest challenge. The fight against corruption is about restoring hope for a betrayed people. After the phosphate wealth vanished, Nauru struck a deal with Australia to host an offshore detention center for asylum seekers. In exchange for aid, Nauru became a holding pen for refugees, many of whom endured trauma and indefinite limbo. The center brought jobs and money, but also strained resources and created social tensions. Human rights groups condemned the conditions. Stories of suffering and hopelessness emerged despite media restrictions. The detention center became Nauru's most infamous feature, overshadowing its culture and history. For Nauru, it was a desperate trade, sovereignty and reputation for survival. The human cost remains a painful legacy. Beyond the headlines of crisis and hardship, Nauru is, at its core, a community with deep roots and enduring traditions. The island's culture is woven from centuries of shared history, resilience, and a profound connection to both land and sea. Here, the bonds of kinship and the rhythms of daily life are shaped by customs passed down through generations. Once home to 12 distinct tribes, Nauruans lived in harmony with their environment, drawing sustenance from the ocean's bounty and the fertile land. Family and community were always at the heart of life, with elders guiding the young and traditions anchoring the people through times of change. Today, these values remain strong. Extended families support each other through life's challenges, and community events, whether a festival, a wedding, or a simple shared meal, are central to island life. These gatherings are more than just social occasions. They are vital threads that keep the fabric of Nauruan society intact. Traditions like frigate bird catching, storytelling, and communal ceremonies persist, even as modern influences and global culture make their mark. These practices are not just relics of the past, but living expressions of identity and pride. The Nauruan language, once the sole tongue of the island, survives in homes and among elders, but English now dominates in schools, government, and public life. This shift reflects both adaptation and the challenges of preserving heritage in a changing world. Environmental devastation from decades of phosphate mining has forced Nauruans to rely on imported, processed foods. This change in diet has fueled a public health crisis. Nauru now has among the world's highest rates of obesity and diabetes, a stark contrast to its once self-sufficient way of life. Life expectancy is low, and the irony is striking. An island that was once rich in natural bounty now depends on canned goods and imports for survival. The scars of environmental loss are visible, yet the people endure. Yet, through all these challenges, the spirit of community endures. Nauruans continue to find strength in each other, cherishing their heritage and supporting one another, ensuring that the heart of their culture beats on. Despite its unique story, Nauru is the world's least visited country. Getting there is tough. One airline, infrequent flights, and high costs. Accommodation is scarce, with just 2 hotels often filled by officials or detention center staff. There are no resorts, few activities, and little tourist infrastructure. The island's reputation for environmental ruin and human rights controversies deters visitors. Strict visa policies add to the challenge. For the rare traveler, Nauru offers raw reality, not paradise, a place stripped of tourist gloss, still searching for its future. It's easy to focus on Nauru's failures, but at its heart are 12,000 people with dreams and pride in their homeland. Young Nauruans inherit problems they didn't create: limited opportunities, a health crisis, and a damaged environment. Yet they find joy in family, sport, and music, even as memories of lost prosperity linger. The psychological toll is heavy, but so is the pride in being Nauruan. Empathy is essential. It's easy to judge, harder to understand the desperation behind past choices. What does a nation do when its only resource runs out? Nauru's story is about survival, not just failure. Its people endure, holding on to hope and identity. Despite everything, Nauruans refuse to disappear. Hope comes not from outside, but from their own resilience. There are efforts to rehabilitate the land, revive traditions, and build small businesses. The winding down of the detention center is both a crisis and an opportunity, a chance to redefine the nation's future. Nauru's story urges us to notice the forgotten corners of our world and learn from their lessons. We can help by caring, learning, and supporting efforts to improve life on the island. By remembering Nauru, we affirm that its future and our planet is worth fighting for.